Hey yo, what's good, Reader fam? Welcome back to my channel. Welcome back to my bed. If you couldn't tell, today I'm doing another books in bed video where I talk about books in bed. Today's episode is sponsored by HarperCollins. I say episode as if this is an official series on my channel. It's not. I still don't know if I should make this an official series on my channel. Should it be? Sound off in the comments if you want it. I just accidentally made the TT signal. I'm like TTA, just like TTA. Today's episode is mostly going to be an update on my reading life. How exciting, how interesting, how thrilling! I'm gonna fill you guys in on all the things. I feel like it's been a while since I've updated you guys on the books that I've read and the books that I'm currently reading and the books that I want to read. That's mostly due to the fact that I'm behind on all the things. I'm so behind on reviews, like I don't remember the last time I even did a books I've read recently. I've had enough books that I've read to make 2 or 3 videos out of it, and yet I still put off making a books I've read recently video. I'm a mess. I'm sorry. Am I though? No, I'm not at all. It's a part of the Jesse the Reader brand to be a mess, okay? So yeah, I'm literally drowning over here because I'm so behind on all the things. Someone fling me a rope and pull me out of this book ocean I've created for myself. First up, I want to talk about the fact that I'm pretty sure I've given up on my Goodreads challenge for this year. No. How could you? In the past, I've never really paid attention to the Goodreads challenge, but I think the reason why it's on my mind so much this year is because normally in the past, I never have any problems with it. Like I always reach my Goodreads goal. It's a piece of cake. So because I've had trouble hitting it this year, it has been on my mind. Like a lot. More than it should be. Like, yo, Goodreads goal, get out of my mind. I don't want to think about you. We're done. We've officially broken up. At the point of filming this video, I'm currently 21 books behind schedule. I was thinking like maybe I can just read a bunch of short books and just like cram in all these super tiny books and I'll achieve my goal. But I also don't want to read all these tiny books just for the sake of hitting a challenge. It ain't that deep. It's a stupid challenge. I want to read books that I'm actually interested in and that I want to actually pick up and read. I don't want to pick up books just to fulfill some meaningless challenge. I was also thinking of like editing my goal and just bringing it down a little bit, but I also just don't want to do that. Something that I'm really excited about though is the fact that I broke my reading slump. Hi-ya! The slump that had me swallowed up since the beginning of summer has been broken. I'm out of the woods that contained the dark life full of no reading, no books, none of that. I've been actively reading again, and let me just tell you, it feels so good. It feels so good to have the urge to pick up a book and read it. Like, hallelujah! I have missed that feeling. The one thing that is good about reading slumps is that once you're out of it, it makes you appreciate reading so much more. And after you're out of them, you want to read all the things. I always get asked how to get out of a reading slump, and honestly, I don't know the answer for this because each one I've endured in such a different way. It sounds so dramatic saying it that way. I've endured each one in such different ways. They ask you how you're doing and you're like, I haven't been reading, and they're like, oh my gosh, how could you not? And you cry yourself to sleep at night because you miss your books, but you can't read them because the slump has hit you so hard. This slump in particular, I just had to ride out, and eventually I got out of it. And I got to a point where I did want to pick up a book and read it, but also during the slump, I was actively pushing myself to pick up books and read them, even if I didn't want to read them. Now, I don't know if this is the best way to get through a slump, but I was trying to actively make reading a part of my day in order to kind of help me get back into the routine of reading every day. I just wanted to do everything I could to defeat it because it was driving me crazy. I wanted to take my book sword and stab that slump in the gut. I want to talk about 3 books that I want to read before the end of the year because the end of the year is near and I want to read some books. I already mentioned some books that I wanted to pick up and read by the end of the year in a recent book tag, but I've read a majority of those books, so I want to read some more books. First up here I have Coral by Sarah Ella. That name has me wanting to go under my umbrella. Ella, Ella, A, Sarah Ella, 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 A. This just recently came out, and it's one of those books that I want to pick up and read right away and not let it just sit on my shelves for 60 years before I pick it up. Plus, I'm super interested in reading this book because of the topic matter that it explores. This is actually a retelling of The Little Mermaid, and we follow 3 different perspectives in this book. First up, we've got Coral, who is a mermaid. One of the rules in living under the sea and being a part of this mermaid society is that you must just like fit in with everybody, which honestly, that just sounds awful. Like, I would hate that. As somebody who like loves being different and unique and thrives on that, I would have quite the issue of living in that society. Like, I would not be okay with that. Like, no thank you, I'm swimming out of this society. But yeah, anyway, it's looked down upon to be different, and Coral ends up being hit with this human disease, and that disease is emotions. Can't have none of that living under the sea because it makes you different, and apparently you can't be different under the sea. Then we've got Brooke, who is dealing with depression and anxiety, and one of the things that really helps her is just being by the ocean. Being by the the ocean just gives her some peace and just kind of helps her forget about the things that she's dealing with. Unfortunately, she's stuck at this group therapy home that she really wants to escape. Then we've got Merrick, who is in a situation that he really wants to escape. He's living with his father, who's really controlling, and he wants nothing to do with him. And after his sister commits suicide, he decides that he is going to go and track down his mom because he feels like if he lives with his mom, then things will be so much better than they currently are with his father. So this book follows these three characters as they face these hardships. It also feels like these three characters are in just similar situations that they all want to escape. And I feel like at some point throughout the story, the three characters' stories will intertwine and maybe they'll help each other out. I'm hoping that that's the case, that they come together and rely on each other during this hard time, because I feel like during hardships like this, hardships that these characters are facing, it's always helpful to have a friend by your side that knows what you're going through. I'm just very interested in reading this book. I feel like books like this can be super important if they're done well, and I've heard great things about this one, so that's super promising. Next up, I want to read Romanov by Nadine Brandis, which is a fantastical historical fiction retelling of Anastasia. I don't know why I was going like this, but apparently this means fantastical historical fiction. I love historical fiction retellings. I love fantastical retellings, so this is gonna be a trip for me. A trip that I will gladly take. Basically, in this book, our main character Nastya, which I think that's how you say her name, I'm just gonna call her Anastasia because that is her real name. Anastasia, she just goes by Nastya in this book, I think. Anyway, she's given this mission to transfer a spell in her suitcase. The only thing is that she's being hunted, which could cause some issues, obviously, and she's either gonna have to release the spell or enlist the help of Zash, who is a soldier. No pressure or anything, but this whole spell business, this whole smuggling of the spell could be the only salvation for her family. I wanted to read this book this past summer, but then the whole reading slump hit me pretty hard, and I was unable to pick this book up and read it, because regardless of if I wanted to read it or not, my slump was like, you're not reading it, buddy. But now that I'm out of it, I'm ready for the sucker. Finally, I've got Starsight by Brandon Sanderson, the sequel to Skyward. Whoa, this book right here, it just fell from the sky. Ha! I honestly forgot this book was coming out, which I honestly don't know how I could forget because I loved Skyward so much. Like, holy crap, I loved this book. But now it's here and I need to read it ASAP. Let's just ignore the fact that this cover doesn't fully fit this book correctly. I'm just gonna act like that's not gonna bother me, even though it really bothers me, and this is one of my biggest pet peeves. I think this jacket might be a little too big for this book. That's all I'm saying. I mean, I like wearing baggy clothes too, but it's really bothering me, I must admit. I'm pretty sure it's gonna be a while before we get the last book in this trilogy, which makes me a little bit hesitant to go ahead and read the second book, because I feel like if I read the second book now, I'll forget everything that happens in the second book by the time that the third book comes out. But at the same time, I'm really eager to read this book and find out what happens next. I don't think your boy's gonna be able to hold off. Obviously, I can't tell you what Starsight is about, but I'll tell you a little bit about Skyward. Basically, in this book, we follow a girl named Spensa who dreams of one day becoming a pilot, but she's kind of haunted by her father's past as a pilot. He faced an incident that killed him, and because of this whole incident, people look down upon Spensa because of everything that happened with him, which honestly is not fair, but regardless, she decides that she's going to go to pilot school and fight for her dream. And a mysterious discovery might just be what she needs to achieve her dreams. That was a very vague description, but I tried my best. My real description is that this book is great. Read it. Are you sold on it yet? Hopefully I can get to these books by the end of the year. We'll see. Next up, I wanted to talk about the fact that I finally finished reading A Map of Days by Ransom Riggs. I did it! Success! I read the dang book! Y'all can stop roasting me every time I talk about this now. I can stop roasting me every time I talk about this now. What a concept! Hallelujah! I think the reason I put this book off for so long is because of the fact that I was so nervous about it. I was nervous as heck, like frickety frick, the nerves were real. When you love a series so much, you put all these expectations on what comes next, and I myself needed to tame those expectations before going into this book. So yeah, it took me a year to get around to reading this, but I'm okay with that because I didn't leave this book disappointed. Success! Albeit, it did have a very different feel than the original trilogy, but I like the direction it's going in. It didn't have that magical feeling that the original trilogy had, but that's because you already have an understanding for the characters and the world, and nothing is really new. I mean, there are aspects of the world that are new, but it's just different because things are pretty familiar. Also, this is a really dumb complaint to have, but I wasn't as wowed by the photographs in this one compared to the original trilogy. But again, what a stupid thing to complain about, right? The story was strong and that was really enough for me, and I'm also just really excited for where this is going. Like, the ending left me shook. Ow, that hurt. I also got the chance to do a recap video for this book for Penguin Teen's YouTube channel, so I will leave a link to that down below in the description. Go and check that out if you want a recap of this before the next book. I participated in NaNoWriMo last month in November. I can't believe it's December. Like, that's disgusting. I don't want to think about the fact that it's December. Like, how rude of December to show up like that. Like, can you give me a minute? Like, can I just breathe before the end of the year, please? Like, how are we here already? This is unfair. Anyway, I participated in NaNoWriMo. I was doing so well up until last week. I don't know what happened. I guess it was just like the Thanksgiving madness. I had family coming into town. I had Thanksgiving celebrations. I spent time with tons of people. And then the day after Thanksgiving, I literally passed out for like 5 hours and just slept because there was too much socializing happening. I ended up failing NaNoWriMo, which honestly, I'm okay with. I'm okay with the fact that I failed. The only reason I'm okay with the fact that I failed is because I kind of unlocked something in myself, a kind of realization, I guess you could say, of what I need to be doing with this first draft. And that's basically just word vomiting. Like, word vomiting is working so well for me. I do have a bit of an outline, but for the most part, I'm just putting down everything that comes to my mind when I sit down to write. And by everything that comes to mind, I mean everything that relates to the story. I'm not just like, oh, I want a pizza, so I'm gonna write that down. Like, no, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about everything that has to do with the story. I feel like I kind of figured out what was holding me back from writing, and I think that's because I was putting too much expectations on the project, putting too much expectations on myself, and just going into it with this kind of perfectionist mindset. I let go of all of those things and I just wrote. I was writing like I had never written before, and I'm so excited to continue working on this project. Obviously, everything that I'm writing is trash. Like, I understand that. This first draft is not good. I'm not showing it to anybody. But what do you do when you make a mess? You clean it up, and that's exactly what I'm doing. I'm making a mess with these words, but I'm gonna come back through and clean it up. Even if everything I have right now is crap, it's okay because I'm gonna keep working on making it better than what it was before. I don't even know if this will be the book that I end up trying to get published, but either way, this is practice. This is writing practice, and it's gotten me so excited about the writing process again, which is something that I really desperately needed. I don't know about you guys, but once November comes around, I'm just like automatically thinking about the next year. Like, I'm already in this 2020 mode. I'm thinking about books that I want to read in 2020. I'm thinking about challenges that I want to take on in 2020. And I'm thinking about all the videos that I want to make in the new year, which I know is like such a bad mindset to like have, because I feel like really I should just be living in the now. I should be reading the books that I want to read right now. But I don't know, there's something about me that just like is eager for a fresh start. Is anybody else that way? Let me know down below in the comments. Also, let me know down below in the comments some reading challenges that you guys are planning on taking on next year. I'm going to be doing a video talking about my reading plans and the reading challenges that I'm going to be taking on next year. So I need some inspiration from you guys. That's it for this books in bed video. I hope that you guys enjoyed it. I feel like I just rambled on for so long, but I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know down below in the comments if you want to see it become a series. Let me know down below in the comments also what books you are planning to read before the end of this year. How is it December? If you like this video, be sure to go and hit that like button. If you want to see more bookish content from me, be sure to go and hit subscribe or go and hit that bell icon and you'll be notified every time I post new videos. As always, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope your day is bright and that tomorrow is brighter. Keep reading what your heart desires, and I will see you soon with a new video. Bye.